Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show.
On a beach in the sand, I think of you. I think of you. Hey, you, did you realize I love you all my life? And when you're gone, I'm all alone.
Welcome back. I'm, as you know, Curt Williams, the spiritualist, metaphysician, and hermeticist. Now, one thing I'd like to say before we get started, I'd like to explain I never really prepare a topic for the show before I turn on the camera. I usually wait till right before I turn on the camera to decide what I'm going to talk about today because I'm a spiritualist. We spiritualists let our spirits guide you, and I'm perfectly comfortable with waiting until the last minute before, because if I start before, my brain might try to interject something. So I like to wait till the last minute. So, however, on my way to work last week, I was listening to, I'm very comfortable listening to a fella on the radio by the name of Zoe Williams. He has a show that concentrates on relationships, which is something that I know nothing about. It's not that I don't know, it's not something that I focus on because it's not something I involve myself in. You know, I don't, I have reserved to never be able to understand women or relationships. So a spiritualist like myself just puts that into the hands of Big Curt, and I let Big Curt handle that part. I don't even think about that. So this is something that Zoe Williams specializes in, and I happen to be listening to his show. And he always introduces his show by having some expert in philosophy and in whatever field they happen to be talking about come on and give their little talk about whatever the topic may be. And I like to listen to those experts to see if their values or their opinions are similar to my own. So I turned on his radio show, and he had an expert in the field of modern psychology and psychiatry. And before I even realized it, the man began to talk, and then he began to sound a lot like me. What he was saying, in fact, was that so difficult are the times right now that people are going to have to learn how to rely on themselves. and almost reject a lot of the things that they're being fed to in the media, because the media's intent is to make you pull towards their side, whichever side that may be, which is true, just fine. But now it's gotten to the point where it's so confusing, and now you interject AI, you don't know who's saying what. And if you don't have the power, the ability of discernment, it's going to be a difficult thing for you to navigate through all the BS. So he was suggesting that people got in touch with themselves and rely on themselves. Now that I can appreciate, because that is the whole thing that I'm trying to teach you here. How to connect with your spirit. He is beyond absolutely right. He is so right, I don't even know how he figured this one out, because he's a psychiatrist and a psychologist are people, doctors who study and have created labels for every kind of thing that the human brain might come up with. And the human brain is so complex that it's a very difficult thing to do. You end up with a big old book, as they have. You have thousands of labels for the various things. Now, a spiritualist, like myself, is someone who has learned how to communicate with their spirit, so their spirit will, my spirit talks to me before I ask it to. My spirit will say something to me before I ask the question. My spirit already knows what my needs are, and I've put my life into the hands of whatever my spirit wants to do. So to make sure that we are working together. So to make sure that I'm not pulling one way and he another, or it another. We are on the same page, working for the same thing, whatever that might be. I have patience, because wherever we're headed is in the right direction. It doesn't have anything to do with wealth, money-wise, because that's not always the best thing for you. I know what my life would be like if I was wealthy. I already know, because I know there's a part of me that has sort of a weakness for a certain kind of femininity. And if that certain kind of femininity found out I was rich, I would not have to find it. It would find me. I would look over and I would be like, oh, damn, there goes that kind of femininity. And that femininity would already know how to trap a simple-minded, lonely person like myself. So to avoid all that completely, I just don't go anywhere except to the Hollywood Bowl by myself. So anyway, here's the problem with people like me, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is because it is now a hot topic. The topic is called, and this is something that Zoe Williams brought up on his show, and they talked about it for about 4 weeks on that show. Well, it happens to be something that I have a tremendous amount of experience in. He was talking about narcissism, and I know more about that than the average person, simply because I'm from a family where everyone in my family was a narcissist, except me, of course. Well, somebody had to not be one in order for anybody to notice anything. However, on his show, they didn't bring up the most severe kind of narcissism that exists. They talked about it in a variety of ways with a variety of experts, but nobody ever brought up the kind that I had to study, which is called the histrionic cluster B. That is a form of narcissism that is basically beyond any other. Now, when I say I'm from a family of complete narcissist, I'll give my father a break. He doesn't possess the sociopathic side of all of it. The sociopathic side makes you feel like you really don't care about what you do to somebody because you're going to do it anyway because you have no regard for how they feel about anything. It's a very special kind, and like I said, my family was like that, and I wasn't. But I also know I wasn't because I became a victim of all that. And if I was anything like them, it never would have happened to me. I'd have been just as mad as they were, and I would have been able to circumvent. Matter of fact, I would have been better at it than they were. I'd have took what they had before they got a chance to take anything I had, or they never would have. Anyway, I'm not one, but I can recognize it. I bring all that up to say that since that is such a hot topic, one day I'll bring it up here and I'll discuss that with you. The only way that you're going to circumvent yourself from being a victim of that form of narcissism is to be a spiritualist. A spiritualist will help you circumvent all of that. Your spirit will warn you. Your spirit will say, no. Your spirit will tell you, your spirit will keep you from getting in a car accident. As soon as I sit down in a car, I take my hand and do this. What I'm doing is I'm putting a sort of a grid around my vehicle, a white light around my vehicle. I used to do this. I used to do this all the time years ago. Well, I stopped doing it because I said, well, why not just put a whole white light on the whole freeway so nobody gets into an accident while I'm on it? So that's what I do. I just whip a light so that there'll be no accidents. About 3 weeks ago, there was an accident. I mean, literally, I heard it. It went capiche. In the car, right, 2 cars before me, when I looked up, the back bumper was like off and there were pieces on the freeway. And the car that had hit him was going that way, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I thought I had protected all the cars on the freeway. And my spirit spoke to me and said, yeah, but you didn't see it. Because I literally could not tell you which car initiated the boom. So I think that was my way out. I think I didn't see that accident. So there's a lot of accidents that's going to happen like way up the underground. I'm not going to say. I should have put a light around me that said, even cars that I can't see. Maybe I'll try that next time. That's a little scary. Because when I ask my spirit something, it always works. So it never not works. So I would hate to put myself into a situation to be disappointed. But I've said that so many times since I discovered this whole thing, and I've never been disappointed once. Not ever. But I didn't see that accident. When I looked up, it had already happened. So anyway, as I was listening to his show, and he said, we are going to have to start to rely on ourselves. Even whether he knew what he was saying or not, what he meant, or what I know he should have meant, is we need to rely on our spirit. The reason I am okay not having relationships or anything like that is simply because hanging out with Big Curt and my spirit, the things we do, we have a fine time. I saw a program on television 40 years ago, and it's something I wish I had never seen, really, but I did. And it was called The Plight of the Black Woman to Find an Eligible Mate. And I saw how difficult these women were, time they were having finding a good black man in particular. And I feel sorry for them. So I kind of committed myself to this endeavor to make sure that, and I'm not a racist. but still, this sounds racist. If you're going to commit yourself to a particular type of person based on their ethnicity, you are a racist. I don't care if you're a black one or any other kind of one. If you have to have a certain one, then that's a racist aspect of who you are. But this was almost racism with an excuse. I feel bad for my mothers and sisters and black women in particular, so I dedicated myself to that. However, since that time, there has been a movement where the black woman herself has been pushed so far away from. Every time I talk to a black woman now, the first thing they're going to tell me how black men ain't this and black men ain't that. And so their opinion of black men now is so negative that I can't even begin to tell you the pressure that black men have if we're trying to get along with somebody in our own culture, simply because our female culture has such a negative opinion of us. It's just how it is. And anybody can tell me about how their experiences are, but I'm just going by mine, and I'm 66 years old. Every 5 years I say I'm gonna quit this, I'm not gonna do this no more. Then I do it again, and then 5 years I'm gonna quit, I'm not doing this no more. So I quit this 10 years ago, and I've been the same way ever since. But it's satisfying to rely on your own spirit. You can have fun with your spirit. The beauty about your spirit is, when I go out, for instance, I don't have to worry about my partner being late because my spirit is always on time, whatever it is. I don't have to worry about having a good time because when you are connected to your spirit, it's just a wonderful feeling. When I go out somewhere, I dress like this for one thing, so I'm going to stand out anyway. So I get more joy out of people tripping off of who I am than I would be off of tripping out who they are. I don't care about who they are because I'm so busy having fun being me. It's a wonderful thing being me if you're tied into your spirit and your spirit says, hey, you want to have a good time? Dress like we dress and go out and see how much fun that is. So it's a lot of fun being myself. It's lonely, but at the same time, if you connect with your spirit, the loneliness is not as bad as it would be because it really is a very special relationship to share. And what the psychiatrist was saying on the Zoe Williams show is that we as people are going to have to begin to rely on that because everything else is going to be so maddening. And it's the only thing you can trust. The only thing you can trust now is your own spirit. Religion will steer you one way or the other. Nobody likes to war and fight more than religions do. So basically, I'm saying if you want to find inner peace, and I'm going to go back to the scripture that I heard about last week, John 1. Greater is the spirit that is within you. If you want peace of mind, and I'm going to tell you, I'm constantly going to tell you how to connect with your spirit. Like I said, first thing you want to do is give it a name. Second thing you want to do is you want to talk to it all the time. And one day you're going to start hearing something back. It's going to be a feeling at first, but one of these days when you least expect it, you're going to hear a voice that sounds like you, and it's going to say, hey, stop. And you're going to stop, and the car is going to pass by on a green light, and you're going to go, woo. Once you start finding things to thank your spirit for, that's when you're going to start to believe. That's when you're going to know it's there. And once you believe it, and then you start to rely on it, and then call on it, and then it does something that you expect. It becomes an expectation. It literally becomes an expectation. Before I forget, we have another chapter. This is the chapter called Upper Heaven. Now, Upper Heaven is a wonderful place. Remember, there's 5 heavens. Atmospheric heavens, where all the religions go, the religions and the gangbangers and all the people who think they're the only ones that's supposed to be there, are going to be in atmospheric heaven in their own little cocoon. They're going to get what they asked for. The born agains are going to be with the born agains, which is what they want. The Israelites are going to be with the Israelites, which is what they want. They want to be together. They just don't realize that once you're together for a certain period of time, you're going to get tired of each other and you're going to miss everybody else. I think Hebrew Israelites like being who they are, but making sure they're out with the people so they can at least see the different people and feel, you know what I mean? So they don't really want to be just them, because if it's just them, there won't be anybody to show out to. The born again Christians, if it's just you, there won't be anybody for you to shout at. You know, and the same thing goes for the Crips. If they're all Crips, then you're not going to have anybody to fight. So this is my point. That's what atmospheric heaven has for you. Just you. Just your kind. Then you have lower heaven, which is for spirits that are a little past that, but they're still going a little through some trials and tribulations. And you got middle heaven, which is actually a lot of fun. Entertainment, relationships, all that. Upper heaven is a little more of a relationship. You're right underneath the belly of understanding what the creation is, which is not a person like the Bible says. It's not one man who's got this and a son who's telling you what's going to happen to you if you don't do what I say. It's not that. It's more of the underbelly of a whole matrix of creation. It's not a person. It's not even a persona. It's something that encompasses everything. Everything. Like I said, if there was a hell, it would be in hell too. It encompasses everything. So this is just a description of upper heaven. Enjoy it, and we'll be right back and we'll say goodnight.
Today's class was an introduction into the realm of upper heaven, taught by a pyramid priest.
Underneath an almost transparent barrier lies a realm unlike any other, anywhere. It's like nothing ever could be, or ever will be. So very unique is this place, because sitting directly above is the ethereal realm where the Creator besits. As you look up, you could feel His presence. You can feel the warmth of His soul and the heat of His heart. You can taste the taste of His sweat and feel the motion of His vibration. As you move gently side to side with His rhythm, it is as if you are rubbing the underbelly of a being of great all and all-knowing. Like a moth to a flame or a snowflake in a storm, the overwhelming feeling that can only be described as one of incomparable wonderfulness. From the beginning of your soul's existence, it is there where you long to be, forever and forever floating, beneath something that is connected to everything at once. One could only imagine the euphoric ecstasy. If only you could breach the barrier and into the realm of God. If you can gain the strength to pull away and stand back for one moment only. You could look around, see and feel the magnificence of this place they call upper heaven. First, the air, if it could be labeled as such, or called if that, for air is not really needed in a spiritual realm such as this. Yet, so special is the thought of taking it in, you will try to do so anyway. Once this element is within you, it will launch your mind into what only could be described as amazing grace. This must be the place where all the great songs in the universe are first written. Then they find their way, traveling to find the right soul to compose them. It must be the place where the great magnum opuses are conceived, the place where extraordinary choreographies are danced, using lights from brilliant stars and systems to convey its own splendor. So spectacular is it all, there could never be but one word to describe this. Far too few it would be, though I ponder. If there were such, it would have to come from here. In this place your soul bathes, though not wet. It sings, though not with voice. It wonders, yet conceives all things. It ponders, yet it knows all thoughts. It rises though most high, it falls for the thrill of it all, then hovers still to witness one marvel after yet another, as if to say, look at this, then again, now, look at this, and then again, hey, look at this, set forth by what could only be described as heavenly hands, unfurled to let loose yet another astonishing amazement. A recent resident once penned a song that could only have come from the testimonial of a long-time resident. He described of this place where there was no country, then said of this place there is no religion. In this place there are no possessions. He conceived of this place where all people were living life as one. Such is true of this place. All everything, loving all things, assimilating, and most of all, understanding the true love and nature of God. It is here where gods come from. For gods there are many. And it is here where angels reside, just to be close to the Most High. It is here where Mother Teresa came directly after her passing, bypassing all other heavens in light speed. It is here where Jesus lives after being snatched from the hand of Satan. God knew that it was Jesus that was forsaken.
Okay, said Yazwa.
That must be me.
The priest said yes.
Of course it is you, and me, and us all, if we should be so fortunate. Joan of Arc lives here as well, and she has forgiven all who have mistreated her. She has forgiven all who defiled and constrained her. Abraham Lincoln is here just to be near the spirits that led him so clear. Was because slavery he then took the fall. Now he spends most of his time discussing law with the all.
The priest then began handing out paperwork for us to study.
Subscribe and push the like button.
That's upper heaven. Now there's one more heaven left. That's the ethereal realm. We're going to get to that one next week. And then we're almost through with the book. And let me tell you something about my book. It's not written like a lot of books. It's not written in the style of the Bible. When the Bible was written, Shakespeare was the most popular writer at the time, so everything about the Bible is written in Shakespearean. Richard Pryor described it as not the Bible, but Shakespeare as someone who talked funny. He's hard to understand. Richard Pryor said His thurn thy thither. Hearth thy thurn thy thitheth. You know, that's Shakespeare. So the Bible's written in there in that language, and it's very confusing anyway. That's why you have to have interpreters. Well, my book is written in modern day poetry. So when I'm feeling a little whatever, I can open up my book and read a couple of chapters, and it cools me right down. It calms me down because of the beauty of the words that are in it in reference to the Creator. And so anyway, thank you guys for coming. See you next week.
Hey, you, did you realize I love you all my life? And when you're gone, I'm all alone. I need to know. I need to feel.
Subscribe and push the like